Hi, my name is Pat Kelly, and if you're wondering, no, I am not a fitness model, but I'm a guy that just survived 15 major surgeries, cancer, raising a son who always thinks that he's an American Ninja Warrior. But I'm here today to tell you a story. It's a story of resurrection, about dreams being restored. This is too slow. Sons and daughters rising. Let's rewind. This is too slow. Sons and daughters rising. Let's rewind. Years ago, my life became a full construction project. 15 major surgeries, cancer, 8 years of hospitals, recoveries, and battles that no one could see that were going on in my mind. There were nights that I didn't know if I would walk again. Days if I wondered if my kids would have a father. Nights that I cried out with words that I didn't even know were within me. I was just fighting for my life. I was fighting for the future. But here's what I learned. The enemy can attack your body, but he can't attack the calling that's on your life. Once that calling is received, it's a gift from God forever and ever. Even when you start messing up and you're not on his track, his gifts are not retractable. So in Romans 8:11 it says, if the spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Christ Jesus from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies. Now, I wasn't just patched up. I've been resurrected. I wasn't just healed to survive. I was sent to storm hell's gates and set the captives free. While I was fighting my battles, the cancer, the heart attacks, the operations, another story was unfolding. The story was unfolding was the forging of my warrior son, Brendan Kelly, also known as the USA Saiyan. Brendan didn't just wake up one day and set world records. Strength wasn't just handed to him, it was forged. He went to school in high school as 97 pounds, 5'2" maybe, trying to remember, smallest guy, trying to play on the football team. He had to work real hard to get a position. They just overlooked him. It was fought hard for, one small victory at a time, a small choice at a time. It was long before the cameras ever showed up. A quick side story. My wife and I, we owned a playground company called Recreations of Lexington. We sold rainbow play systems, the backyard dream sets. It was made so adults can play on it with their kids. Now, Brendan didn't just visit playgrounds. He lived on one. He practically was the mayor of Rainbow Play Systems. While other kids were mastering Mario Kart, and Brendan was mastering gravity and how to control his body. And trust me, when your son can run up a 12-foot slide faster than you can say, be careful, there's something special, something different going on. But that was just the beginning. In college, Brendan was an All-American in 2 sports. Football for kickoffs and returns and defense, and then he was in track, running the 800. Then came the storm, compartment syndrome. Doctor said his athletic career should be over, to never do anything with sports again. But Brendan fought back. He didn't just recover, he qualified for nationals in the 800, just months after being told he could never participate in sports again. That's what the doctor said. It's not what I said to him. I said to my son, the first thing is, you're going to outrun chariots. And he said he's going to qualify for nationals. So sometimes our greatest victories are forged in our darkest seasons. After college, he went on to run and broke the world record for running the fastest mile backwards in 5 minutes and 53 seconds. Yeah. That's one miracle. Then there was the miracle of preserving Brendan for his call. If that wasn't enough, God had showed his hand even clearer. One night while Brendan was driving on the highway, Brendan's car, hydroplane, lost control, rolled over 5 times. On the first row, the sunroof flew off. The second, he flew out the window. He was ejected through the sunroof. He stood watching his car flip down the side of the highway, and he survived. Because the enemy may form a weapon, but it shall not prosper. It shall not prosper. If you're still breathing, God is still winning. If you're still thinking and believing in Him, God is still winning. If you can grasp what He put into you so many years ago, God is still winning, because it's alive. It never leaves you. But the greatest test now came the other night. Before we opened up our space here, Nidgeletics was to be open, Brendan ran up the warp wall and went for a backflip. He was supposed to land on some mats. He ended up landing on his back on the ground. The impact from the force burst his lungs, and the shock overtook his body, and he collapsed before us. He was dying before our eyes, and we had to make a choice in that moment. Not to call on a distant God and beg for rescue, but to remember the Christ that's in us, the hope of glory. We laid hands on Him. We spoke life into Him. We released the healing, not requested it. We declared it. No, He may not. He may not take our son. My wife was watching him collapse before her birthday, 60th birthday, before Jim's dream could come alive. He stood there and said, no, he may not. No, he may not. No, he may not. Friends and families gathered. We released the kingdom into Brendan. For 30 minutes passed before the ambulance arrived. Another 30 minutes before they moved them from our place. All signs said bad news, but our faith said, no, he may not. My daughter didn't know what was going on. Everything went outside. She went out dancing in the rain around the ambulance, thanking God that her brother would live and not die. At UK Hospital, they stabilized Brendan. Brendan was stabilized there. Eventually they got to him. Because he was so stable, he waited and ran the CAT scans. Doctors found the evidence. His lungs bursted and sealed themselves. A supernatural healing. Already accomplished, released the same, and he was released that same night, 2 a.m. And by the next morning, All the witnesses saw. Brendan was at Ninjaletics, throwing kids, boxing, moving, celebrating the victory. Just like we declared it, celebrating it. Because when the suns rise and hell has to back down, the kingdom moves on. So let me share the vision moment with Papa. You've been waiting for me to finally get to this point. So why did we build Ninjaletics? Why the records? Why the battles? Because it's not about muscles. Because it's the mission. It's about the mission. We're not about building egos. We're about building sons and daughters. When we're building sons and daughters, Moment with Papa was born for this. To create a place where the Father's heart meets the everyday battle. Where faith is flexed in the squat racks and prayer circles. Yeah, we're bringing the kingdom to the gym. Ninjaletics isn't just the gym. It's a kingdom. It's a training ground. USA Saiyan isn't just Brendan's alter ego. It's a banner lifted high for the generations that forgot that they were warriors, that there's so much more than what life as a son and daughter of God is like. Destiny Community Church isn't just a meeting. It's a birthing room, a place where God's dreams get legs. That's what I'm witnessing all throughout our congregation. We're not just flexing biceps. We're flexing our faith. We have a call to rise to one accord. Now listen, cancer didn't win against me. Depression didn't win against me. And that's because Jesus had already won for me, and I was in him, and he was in me. Because Jesus already won. All right, the speech stopped, and there should be so much more.